All right, if you've ever tried to pull data from Amazon, you know the feeling, right? You spend all this time building a scraper, it runs perfectly for a few minutes, and then, bam, blocked. You just hit a digital brick wall. It's super frustrating. But what if I told you there's a way to build a scraper that just works, without all that constant babysitting and getting shut down? Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how to do that. How to build a seriously reliable Amazon scraper that flies completely under the radar.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the challenge itself. Why is this so hard? Then we'll pull back the curtain on Amazon's defenses to really understand what we're up against. After that, I'm going to reveal the absolute key to staying hidden. And once you've got that, we'll walk through a step-by-step playbook. Finally, we'll wrap it all up with some pro tips so you can scrape smarter, not harder.
Okay, so let's jump right in with part 1, the Amazon Scraping Challenge. Look, the data on Amazon is an absolute goldmine for any business. But it's a gold mine that is very, very heavily guarded. This is the question, isn't it? The one that keeps developers up at night. And if you've been struggling with this, you are definitely not alone. See, Amazon has a huge interest in protecting its data, and they've gotten unbelievably good at sniffing out and shutting down automated bots. But why do they care so much? Well, it's because the data itself is just that valuable.
And this right here is the treasure they're protecting. We're not just talking about product titles, we're talking about dynamic pricing data you can use for competitive analysis, real-time stock levels to predict supply chain moves, and millions of customer reviews that give you incredible insight into what people want. This is the kind of stuff that gives a business a massive edge, and it's exactly why this whole game is so intense.
So if you want to get your hands on that data, you first have to understand the fortress you're trying to get into. Let's take a look behind the blockade at Amazon's really sophisticated anti-bot defenses. You gotta understand, Amazon isn't just using one trick. It's a whole multi-layered defense system. They're tracking your IP address and how many requests you send per minute. They're analyzing your browser's unique fingerprint, all those little details like your screen size and fonts that make you, you. They even analyze how your mouse moves to see if you act human. And of course, there are those dreaded CAPTCHAs and pages that load content in weird ways, specifically designed to trip up simple scrapers.
But out of all those defenses, this is the big one, the main boss, IP blocking. If Amazon systems see way too many requests coming from a single IP address, that's an instant red flag. That IP gets put on a block list and your scraper is dead in the water. This right here is the #1 problem we have to solve. And that brings us perfectly to the solution, the key that unlocks this whole puzzle, IP rotation. This is the secret weapon for moving like a ghost through Amazon's defenses and staying completely undetected.
So what in the world is IP rotation? Well, the idea is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Instead of making all of your requests from your one server's IP address, you spread them out across a huge pool of different IPs. By doing this, your scraper's activity just blends in. It looks like thousands of different, real people just browsing the site like they normally would. And this slide right here explains it perfectly. On the left, you've got one IP sending 1,000 requests. To Amazon, that screams bot attack, and it gets shut down immediately. But on the right, you have 1,000 requests, but each one comes from a totally different IP. To Amazon, that just looks like 1,000 different shoppers. It's a complete game changer in your approach, and it works.
Now here's a really quick but absolutely critical point. Not all IPs are the same. Data center proxies, they come from servers, and Amazon can spot those a mile away. They get blocked almost instantly. Residential proxies, on the other hand, are IP addresses from real devices, like your home Wi-Fi. A request from a residential proxy looks exactly like a real customer. For serious scraping on a site like Amazon, they are the only way to go.
Okay, so we get the theory. Now let's talk about putting it into practice. It's time to open up the Scraper's playbook and go through the exact steps you need to take to build a system that actually works and keeps working.
Here it is, your 6-step checklist for success. Number 1, as we just covered, you have got to use residential proxies. 2, you need to throttle your requests, add little random delays so you don't look like a machine. 3, constantly switch up your user agents and headers to look like different browsers and devices. 4 and 5, you need a way to deal with CAPTCHAs and parse content that loads dynamically. And finally, number 6, you have to monitor your success rates to see what's working. Now, trying to juggle all of this by yourself, well, it can be a full-time job.
And that's exactly why so many people just turn to a managed service. I mean, this quote really says it all.
This person doesn't even have to think about proxies or CAPTCHAs anymore. They set it up once, and now the infrastructure handles it, rotating to a new IP with every single request. It's all about automating the hard stuff so you can focus on getting the data.
And this is how a service like that makes it possible. A platform like ProxyRack basically hands you a massive global pool with millions of residential IPs. It's not just about having a lot of them, it's about having the right kind of them, from all over the world with the rotation handled for you automatically. It gives you all the powerful infrastructure you need to follow that playbook without having to build it all from scratch. Okay, so let's start to wrap this up. The core message, the big takeaway here, is to scrape smarter, not harder. This isn't about brute force. It's about having the right strategy and, just as important, avoiding the common mistakes that get most people blocked. So, let's just flip our playbook over and look at what not to do. Don't even think about using data center proxies. Don't fire off a million requests from one IP. Don't forget to rotate your headers and browser fingerprints. And don't just ignore CAPTCHAs or scrape way too fast. Honestly, this list is basically a step-by-step guide on how to get your scraper banned.
And hey, if you remember just one thing from all of this, please make it this. You can write the most beautiful, efficient scraping code in the entire world, but if you don't have a powerful and reliable proxy infrastructure behind it, it will fail. Success isn't just about your script, it's about the network that's powering it.
So I'm just going to leave you with this final thought. Accessing this kind of data provides a huge competitive advantage. You can bet that your competitors are already using it to make smarter, faster business decisions. The only real question left is, are you?